Good afternoon and welcome to the Law and Crime Network. I'm Angelica Spanos. Thanks for joining us today. We are following three big trials and we're going to show you the latest from all of those live today out of their courtrooms. We're bringing you the latest updates from the courtrooms here on the Law and Crime Network. Thank you again for joining us. And joining us today to break all of this down is criminal defense attorney Ecleynne Mercy. Ecleynne, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So you've been following this. We've heard from Jane Doe 1 through Jane Doe number 5 so far. We are expected to hear more from her today. But so far, looking back at all 5 of those alleged victims, what do you think of their testimony?
Well, I think that it's my opinion that the first witness wasn't really prepped as well, but I believe I actually kind of have more credibility in her. Now, the second witness, it was my understanding that she was very powerful, and at one point she stated that she didn't want to look at her rapist. However, I don't believe that they have enough evidence. The state has enough evidence to combat that it was intentional, so that it was not consensual. I don't believe that they carried their burden. I'm really interested to see the rest of the witnesses and definitely see what the defense is going to put up.
Right, and one of the things I noticed yesterday with Jane Doe number 5, she was very credible. She really, detailed a lot of the things that happened in this incident with her. And to remind you, Jane Doe number 5 is the 77-year-old woman who said that she was in her gym and Winslow exposed himself to her. What did you think of her?
I have an issue with Jane Doe number 5. As an attorney, my issue is that it's very convenient. So her facts and her recitation of what happened is pretty convenient. He was out on bond. And she said something like he was in the hot tub, and he came in and he was touching himself. Well, I need more information, because it's like, okay, so he was in the hot tub. Was he sitting down? Do we have any video surveillance showing that he went in? And then she said something like he came around her. Do we have video of that as well? It's a pretty high-end gym. And to tell me that all these things happened and nobody else saw it but her, really, I need more. And I don't think that they provided more. Now, although she's a lovely woman and she did testify to what she believes happened, I just think that the state needs to provide a little bit more.
All right. Well, yesterday, Jane Doe 4 and 5 took the stand, and today we are expecting cross-examination of Jane Doe 5 when they resume. And again, that should happen any minute. We'll bring you there live when it does. But Jane Doe number 5 was describing the first incident with Winslow, again, as we said, at the fitness gym back in February. Take a listen. Okay, well, day 7 of the Kellen Winslow, the second trial, is about to start. So we have to take a quick break, but stay with us, because afterwards we will be live in that courtroom as this trial continues. Stay with us. So you are listening live to Jane Doe number 5. The defense, this was big for the defense right now. Ecleynne Mercy, I want to bring you in here. We just heard the defense ask about the jacuzzi and the jets and if they were working or not, and whether she could see through the water. Weigh in on that. What'd you think of that part?
Oh, wow. As a criminal defense attorney, he cut into that with surgical precision. He was able to really, really mess with her credibility. Talk about how he made her talk about, how the phone was on, and how if he had shorts on or a bathing suit. The reason why it's so important, and another reason why I can see why they made this distinction, is because if it's shorts or a bathing suit, you know how like when you're in the tub, it blows up. So it moves up and it moves around, and he wouldn't have any control over what his fabric on his shorts were doing. Another thing that I saw that he got in was nothing was exposed. So he made her say that on the stand, that nothing was exposed. None of his penis was not exposed to her, that it was underneath the gray sweat, that it was underneath his sweatpants. Another reason why that is awesome is because we have a jury with a lot of men. So when she's stating that, hey, he's touching his penis over the sweatpants, a lot of men can relate to touching a penis and not having it be type sexual. It could just be jock itch. So he did an excellent job of just cutting through her story and trying to make it make sense, and seeing how a lot of her facts are really coincidental. I saw that he brought out that, okay, that first incident when she didn't report it, but she did tell her husband. And then you have the next incident in the jacuzzi, and she stays there. So, that brings her fear into question. Maybe she wasn't fearful for him. And then making sure that she says that, hey, when he was coming into the jacuzzi, that she didn't want to see. So she doesn't even know what he had on at that time specifically. So I think the defense did an excellent job, like with surgical precision, just really cutting up into her testimony.
Absolutely. A lot of interesting parts of this to break down. All right. We have Ecleynne Mercy here standing by with us, a criminal defense attorney. Ecleynne, one of the things you said before we heard the new testimony, which we've heard today, was that her credibility, Jane Doe number 5 credibility, was already so-so. What do you think now? How's she holding up?
Oh, it's definitely so-so. It just seems,
and we're going to be live today.
Oh, sorry. It is definitely so-so. What happens is that he was able to trip her up on her own testimony. He was able to now justify that there was another person in the jacuzzi. She was able to now say that, hey, you didn't see exactly what you saw. You thought you saw certain things. So I think what happens now, defense has a narrative for this particular Jane Doe to show, like, listen, she did hear about Kellen Winslow. She was aware of the case. Her fears were probably unwarranted, and it was probably just coincidental. So that is what I think this cross actually pulled out. We have her testimony saying that, hey, I didn't see his penis at all. And then he basically put down that she doesn't know him. So how do you know if his penis is erect or not? It could just be he is blessed. So we have no idea. And he was able to really stump her on really fundamental parts of her testimony to prove that, hey, what she thought she saw, she probably just thought she saw it and wasn't really what actually happened. I was very elated to see the whole conversation about the shorts, because it's so important. And the makeup of the jury definitely lends itself to really, really being able to really help the defense in this case, because they're mostly men, and they're mostly men who understand what gym etiquette. Now, what the defense was able to prove was, hey, there was a mirror behind her. She can see outside, but there was a mirror behind her. So anything that he said towards her could have been towards her, but towards the mirror. He could have been talking to himself in the mirror. I think the defense did an excellent job today, and I'm very excited about seeing just like really, really excellent legal work in the courtroom.
Yeah, that was a big moment for the defense, as you said, and we only have just about a minute left here. So final weigh-in on this. What did you think of Jane Doe number 5 as a whole, and where does this place your mind looking forward?
Well, Jane Doe number 5 as a whole, I honestly don't know why the prosecution even put her case in this case. I think they should have just kept it to Jane Doe number 4. But I think what they thought she would add to the case actually took away from the case. It brought more question marks. It brought more doubt. And in the defense, towards the defense case, it actually helps because it provided reasonable doubt. There's reasonable doubt now to her story because, hey, there was somebody else. Hey,
all right. All right, Ecleynne, Mercy, thank you so much for joining us today. We got to take a break. Stay with us here on the Law and Crime Network.